Rain fell hard on the metal roofs of the alien city of Zareth. The sky was dark and red, and the streets were filled with strange lights and louder voices. In the middle of it all was the slave market, a place where the unwanted were sold. Like broken machines, chained and cold, a young alien girl stood on a platform. Her skin was pale blue with soft patterns like waves, and her glowing teal eyes showed no hope. Her thin arms were tied with heavy metal cuffs, and her legs were bruised from beatings. She was barefoot, wet, shivering. Her name was Leora. But no one had called her that in years. "Next item," shouted a fat alien with sharp teeth. "One healthy female, rare species, obedient and trained." The crowd laughed and shouted bids. "She's too skinny." "Still pretty. Might fetch a high price on Zurok." Leora kept her eyes on the ground. She had been sold before. Each time was worse. Some beat her. Some starved her. Some just wanted to see her cry. She had learned not to beg, not to speak. It only made the pain worse. Suddenly, the crowd grew quiet. Something strange was happening. A tall figure walked through the market gate. His clothes were plain. He had a gray beard and human skin, the soft kind. A middle-aged man, not young, not strong, just quiet. Calm. A human. Many aliens stepped back. They didn't trust humans. Some feared them. Others hated them. But this one didn't look dangerous. He didn't carry a weapon. His eyes looked tired, like someone who had seen too much war, too much loss. The slave master sneered. "Looking for something human? We don't give refunds." The man looked at Leora. She flinched. He pointed. "That one. I'll take her." The crowd chuckled. One alien said, "What will an old human do with a slave girl? Can he even use her?" Leora didn't hear the jokes. Her heart beat fast. Was he another cruel buyer? A human this time? Were they worse? The deal was made. Credits were paid. The chains were unlocked, but not removed. They pushed her into the man's arms like she was trash. "Don't break her too soon," the seller laughed. The man didn't laugh back. He just looked down at the girl and nodded once, then turned to leave. As they walked through the rain, Leora whispered, "Please, just kill me quickly." The man stopped walking. She waited for the first strike, maybe a slap, maybe a punch. That's how it usually began, but he said only one thing. "I'm not here to hurt you." They walked to a small ship. It was old but clean. The man opened. The door helped her in and gave her a towel. "No chains in here," he said. He didn't even lock the door. Leora sat in the corner, confused. Her body was still shaking, waiting for the pain to come. He came back with a bowl of hot soup, placed it in front of her, sat across the room and said nothing. She looked at the food, then at him. "Is it drugged?" He shook his head. "No, just soup." She didn't trust him, but she was starving. She ate, slowly, carefully. He watched her, but not like the others, not with hunger or cruelty, just calm. After a while, she spoke again. "Why did you buy me?" He didn't answer right away. Finally, he said, "Because no one else would treat you like a person." She stared at him. It didn't make sense. No one had ever treated her like a person, not since she was taken from her home as a child. "What's your name?" he asked. She didn't want to tell him, but something in his voice was soft, not like the others. "Leora." He nodded. "I'm Marcus." She held the bowl tightly. "What do you want from me?" Marcus stood up, walked to the door. "Rest. You'll need it. We leave this planet tonight." Leora stared at him as he left the room. Who was this man? Why was he kind? Was it a trap? Her heart didn't believe him yet, but a tiny part of her hoped. The spaceship hummed softly as it rose into the dark sky of Zareth. Leora sat near the back, wrapped in a warm blanket Marcus had given her, but she didn't feel safe. Not yet. The inside of the ship was simple, not dirty, not fancy, just clean and quiet. Too quiet. Marcus sat at the controls. His hands moved slowly, gently. He didn't speak. He didn't look at her much, but she felt his eyes watching from time to time. Not like the others, not with hunger, more like concern. Leora didn't understand it. Why wasn't she in a cage? Why hadn't he tied her up? Why had he bought her and then done nothing? The silence inside the ship was heavy. It made her heart beat faster. She had learned silence could be the scariest thing before the screams. Hours passed. Marcus finally stood up. "We'll be in orbit for a while. You can sleep if you want." Leora didn't answer. She kept sitting in the corner, knees up, eyes sharp. He sighed and left the room. A few minutes later, he came back holding something. "Here," he said. "Clothes, not slave rags, they should fit." She looked at the folded fabric, then at him. "You're giving me clothes?" Marcus nodded. "You're not a slave anymore." She held the clothes in her hands, shaking slightly. It had been years since anyone gave her anything without wanting something in return. Still, she didn't trust him. She took the clothes. But she didn't change. Not yet. Later, Marcus brought food again, a soft bread roll and some kind of warm stew. He placed it near her without saying a word. Leora stared at it for a long time. She whispered, "Why are you being kind?" Marcus sat across the room again. He leaned back and closed his eyes for a moment. "I had a daughter," he said softly. "A long time ago." Leora froze. "I lost her during the Earth-Malric War." He continued, "She would have been your age now." Leora blinked. She didn't know what to say. No one had ever talked to her like this. "I don't want anything from you," Marcus added. "You can stay until you're ready to leave, or, if you need, help finding your people." Her heart jumped at the word people, but she quickly looked away. "I don't have people anymore." That night, while Marcus slept in the cockpit, Leora crept toward the ship's main doors. She knew how ships worked. She had escaped before. She tapped the panel. It beeped, locked, of course, but then a voice behind her. "I didn't lock it to trap you. I locked it to keep others out." She spun around, her heart pounding. Marcus was standing behind her, holding a cup of tea. He didn't look angry. "You want to run?" he asked. She didn't reply. He walked past her, pressed the panel. The door unlocked. "You're free to go," he said. "But there's nothing out there but cold space, bounty hunters, and slavers who know your scent." Leora stood still. Her legs wanted to run, but her mind hesitated. I don't understand you," she said. "You don't have to," Marcus replied. "Just eat, sleep, heal." He turned and walked away, leaving the door wide open. She stood at the doorway for a long time. Freedom was there, but safety? She wasn't sure where that lived anymore. Slowly, quietly, she stepped back inside and closed the door. Then, for the first time in years, she locked it from the inside and cried. The ship floated through deep space, far from the slave worlds now. Stars blinked outside the window like silent watchers. Inside the ship, it was quiet, but not cold anymore. Leora sat on a padded seat, her feet curled beneath her. She wore the new clothes Marcus had given, simple gray pants and a soft long shirt. Clean, comfortable, not slave rags. But still she didn't feel like herself, because she didn't know who she was anymore. Marcus walked into the room carrying a small plate. "You hungry?" Leora looked at the food. "You keep feeding me." He smiled a little. "That's what people do for guests." She raised an eyebrow. "I'm not a guest. You're not a prisoner either." She didn't answer. Instead, she took the food slowly, chewed in silence. After a while, Marcus sat down across from her. No questions, no pressure, just silence. A safe kind of silence. And then she spoke. "I don't know how old I am." Marcus looked up gently. "They took me when I was small," she said softly. "I remember a garden, big white trees, my mother's hands, but not her face." Marcus nodded. He didn't interrupt. My name was Leora, I think. One of the guards called me that once. It felt right. It's a good name, Marcus said. She looked down at her hands. But maybe that girl died a long time ago. No, Marcus replied firmly. You're still her. You survived. She stared at him. You really believe that? Yes. Silence again. But now it wasn't empty. It was filled with something new. Understanding. Leora hugged her knees. Every master I had tried to erase me, changed my name, cut my hair, burned my skin, made me forget. Marcus looked down, clenching his jaw. Then he said, They failed. Leora didn't expect those words. They felt heavy. True. Later, while cleaning the ship's storage room, Leora found something strange. A small metal cube. Alien technology. She picked it up, and it lit up in her hands. Marcus came in and froze. That's from the ruins on Therax Prime, he said. I couldn't get it to open. Leora tilted her head. It responds to my touch. Marcus walked closer. That's rare. Only ancient bloodlines can activate tech like this. Leora suddenly felt cold. She dropped the cube. I shouldn't be here, she whispered. If they find me, they'll kill you too. Who's they? The people who made me, she said. The ones who owned my blood. Marcus didn't move. Then let's make sure they never find you. Leora looked into his eyes. Why are you helping me? I could be dangerous. You don't know who I really am. I know what you've been through, Marcus said softly. And I know you need a chance to heal. Tears formed in her eyes, but she blinked them away. Then, help me remember who I was, she whispered. Not what they made me. Marcus nodded. One step at a time. That night, Leora stood by the window, looking out at the stars. For the first time in her life, she wasn't in a cage, wasn't hungry, wasn't waiting for pain. She whispered to herself, My name is Leora. My name is Leora. And this time, it didn't feel like a lie. For a few quiet days, the ship drifted near a peaceful moon, hidden in the shadows of a gas giant. Marcus repaired systems. Leora read old Earth books he had stored. She liked the ones with heroes who fought for others. Sometimes she forgot she was running. But danger remembers what we try to forget. One night, Marcus returned from a nearby trading station. He looked tired, his arms full of supplies. Leora helped him unload silently, but something about his face felt different, tight, watchful. You okay? She asked. He nodded slowly. Maybe. She waited. Then he said, Someone was asking questions about a blue-skinned girl with glowing eyes. Her heart dropped. That night, Leora couldn't sleep. She sat by the window, arms around her knees, watching stars blur past the glass. Marcus came in quietly, carrying 2 mugs of tea. They didn't say your name, he said, sitting beside her. But they had a picture. Old, blurry. Could have been anyone. It was me, Leora whispered. Marcus didn't argue. I know. Then we have to run again. He nodded. Already charting a new course. But we have a problem. What? He hesitated, then said, They placed a bounty, high level, galactic-wide. Leora's hands trembled. Why would they do that? No, you're not just anything, Marcus interrupted. You're something they want. She looked at him, eyes wide. You should leave me. I already made my choice. They left orbit before sunrise. The stars stretched into long lines as the ship jumped into warp. But they weren't alone. Far behind, in the blackness of space, a small, black ship followed. No lights, no signal. Just a ghost in the dark. Inside that shadow ship sat a tall, insect-like alien, skin like steel, eyes like lava. A bounty hunter known as Vorak the Whisper, silent, precise, deadly, He looked at Leora's image on his screen. Target, alive, intact, high priority. He whispered to himself, "She doesn't know what she is." Back on Marcus's ship, Leora began packing. "What are you doing?" Marcus asked. "I'll leave in the pod. Take it far. Draw them away from you." Marcus stepped forward. "No. But you're not a burden," he said firmly. "We'll figure this out. Together." Leora's voice cracked. "They'll kill you." He nodded. "Maybe. But I won't let them take you." Later, as they rested, Leora told him something new. "I remember a symbol," she said. "A black circle with 3 stars inside it. My mother wore it on her robe." Marcus searched the database, his face turned pale. "That's the crest of the Zerithian core bloodline. What does that mean?" "It means you're not just anyone. You're royalty." In the shadows of space, Vorak received the signal, coordinates locked, target found. He grinned, his claws tapping the ship controls. And just like that, he jumped into warp, headed straight for them. Marcus didn't sleep that night. He sat in the cockpit, eyes fixed on the symbol Leora had described, the black circle with 3 stars inside it. The database confirmed the worst. It belonged to the Zerithian core bloodline, rulers of a lost alien empire, thought extinct for decades. But now, one heir was alive, and she was sleeping on his ship. When Leora woke up, she found Marcus quietly, watching her. She pulled the blanket closer around her. "You didn't sleep?" she said. He gave a tired smile. "Didn't want to." She sat across from him. "You found something, and didn't you?" Marcus nodded. He turned the screen toward her. The symbol glowed there, she gasped. "That was on my mother's robe." He spoke slowly. "This isn't just decoration. This is power. Royal blood. Your blood." Leora stood up, panic in her eyes. "No, I don't want it. I never asked for it." "I know," Marcus said softly. "But that's why they want you. You're more than a runaway slave. You're the key to something bigger." She shook her head. "It doesn't matter. I'm not a princess. I'm not anyone." Marcus stood, walked to her, and placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "You are, Leora. That's enough." Her voice cracked. "Then why does the galaxy want to own me?" He looked into her eyes. "Because they're afraid of what you could become, if you were free." Suddenly the ship shook. Warning lights flashed red. Marcus ran to the console. Something just dropped out of warp, fast. Leora's heart sank. "Vorak?" Marcus didn't answer, but the look in his eyes said yes. Outside, a sleek black hunter ship appeared. No markings, no communication, just silence. Vorak didn't speak, he never did. His ship launched a signal pulse, locking onto Marcus's ship. He was here for one thing. Leora. Inside, Marcus made a fast decision. "We can't outrun him." Leora grabbed his arm. "Then let me go. Let me face him. You'll die if you stay." But Marcus was already opening a hidden locker. "I didn't fight in 2 wars to run now," he growled, pulling out an old human weapon, a railgun. "You can shoot?" she asked. "I can protect," he replied. Leora's breathing was fast. "He'll come for me. He'll rip this ship apart." Marcus looked at her seriously. "Then we give him something he doesn't expect." She blinked. "Like what?" "You," he said, standing tall, not chained, not crying, but fighting back. Leora stared at him. All her life she had been weak, obedient, silent. But now, in Marcus's eyes, she saw something else. Belief. She took a breath. "Teach me," she whispered. "I want to fight." Outside, Vorak prepared to board. Inside, Leora wrapped her hands in armor. Marcus handed her a shock baton. Her fingers trembled, but her eyes were calm. This time she wasn't just running, she was choosing to resist. The ship echoed with the sound of pressure locks releasing. Vorak had boarded. A cold silence filled the hallway. No alarms, no shouts, just the ticking of heavy metal steps. Marcus stood near the doorway, railgun in hand, breath calm, but deep. Leora stood behind him, her body trembling but her eyes sharp, focused. She whispered, "He won't stop." "I know," Marcus said. "Then we won't either." The door burst open. Smoke filled the hall. Out stepped Vorak, tall, armored in black exoplates with burning orange eyes and a cruel, patient walk. He didn't speak. He didn't have to. His presence said enough. Leora stepped forward before Marcus could stop her. Vorak tilted his head, studying her like a puzzle. She raised the shock baton Marcus gave her and said firmly, "I'm not yours." Vorak moved fast, too fast, but Marcus was faster with the trigger. Boom! The railgun fired, blasting Vorak into the wall. Sparks flew. Vorak rolled and hissed. He wasn't down, just surprised. Marcus growled, "You picked the wrong ship." The battle began. Vorak leaped at Marcus, claws slashing. Marcus ducked and fired again, hitting metal armor. Leora used her baton, jamming it into Vorak's side. He roared but turned and slammed her across the room. "Leora!" Marcus shouted. She hit the wall hard but got back up. Not like before. She didn't stay down. Blood on her lip. Fire in her eyes. Then something strange happened. Leora's hands started glowing faint blue. The same energy that had activated the ancient cube in Part 3 now pulsed through her. She didn't understand it, but she let it flow. Vorak charged at Marcus again, this time aiming to kill. Leora stepped in the way and raised her hand. A blast of energy shot from her palm, throwing Vorak backwards through a wall. The ship shook. Marcus froze. Leora stared at her own hand, breathing fast. "What was that?" Marcus whispered. "That's who you are." Vorak groaned, crawling from the wreckage. His armor was cracked. His pride shattered. He looked at Leora again, and for the first time, he stepped back. "You're more than a bounty," Marcus said. "You're a weapon they fear." Leora stepped toward Vorak, her voice steady now. "Tell them I'm not hiding anymore." Vorak hissed but turned. His ship disengaged and blasted away into space. Inside the ship, the silence returned. Marcus dropped his weapon. "Are you okay?" Leora nodded. "I think I am." "You saved both of us," he said. She smiled just a little. "No, we saved each other." The stars looked different now. Leora sat by the window, wrapped in her warm blanket. Her wounds were healing. The fear in her eyes had faded. In its place was something new, quiet strength. It had been 2 days since Vorak ran. 2 days since she released the strange power from inside her. She still didn't understand what she was. But for the first time, she wasn't afraid to find out. Marcus walked in holding a cup of tea. "You still watching the stars?" he asked. She smiled. "They feel less scary now." He handed her the cup and sat beside her. The silence between them was calm now, not heavy like before. "You could go anywhere," Marcus said. "The bounty's off. The royal bloodline secret is safe. You're truly free." Leora looked at him. "And leave you behind?" He raised an eyebrow. "You're not tied to me, Leora." She looked out the window. Maybe not by chains, but maybe by something better. Later that day, they landed on a small forest planet, quiet, green, untouched. Marcus had visited before. It had clean water, rich soil, and no war. A perfect place to start again. Together, they built a small cabin. Leora helped gather wood, plant food, and even cook, badly at first. Marcus didn't mind. He smiled every time she burned something. At night, they sat outside under the stars. "I dreamed once about a place like this," Leora said. "Before the chains, before the silence." Marcus nodded. "You made it real." She looked at him. "No, we did." Days turned to weeks. One morning, a small group of travelers arrived, other freed slaves hearing rumors of a safe place. Leora welcomed them with warm food and open arms. To them, she wasn't a royal. She wasn't a weapon. She was a symbol of hope. And beside her stood the human who had once just wanted peace and found purpose. One night, as stars lit the sky above, Leora turned to Marcus and said softly, "You saved me when I was nothing." He looked at her, eyes warm. "You were never nothing." She smiled. "Maybe now I can save others too." The stars blinked above them. Leora was no longer a prisoner, no longer a lost girl in chains. She was a woman with power, purpose, and freedom, and the galaxy, for the first time, would hear her voice.